the most tremendous new musical experience you can have.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Logan, and I'm here bringing you this review to this newest Future album called High Off Life. Now, everybody knows who Future is. He is probably the GOAT trap rapper of all time. He has been extremely popular over the past few years, specifically with his mixtape run, including Monster, 56 Nights, Purple Rain, and then, of course, his Hit It Out of the Park albums such as DS2. A lot of people enjoyed The Wizard from last year. Me, not personally, but I did enjoy his short EP, Save Me. Don't forget Hendrix, of course. You know, he has his mixture of hype trap. He has his perfect mixture of sad trap. I personally think Sad Future is the best version of Future, although Hype Future is amazing as well. So, that being said, going into this project, I was excited because it is another Future project, but at the same time, I had baited expectations because it is 21 songs long, 70 minutes, so that can be a bit lengthy, especially when you're considering a trap project, so you know there's not going to be like as much depth to it as like a Kendrick Lamar project or something like that. Granted, it sucks to compare people to him, but you know, if you're not comparing yourself to the best, then you're not achieving your goals. So, again, a little bit lengthy, but considering it is Future, it's something you can get over if it's actually good. All of the singles leading up to this were good. I'm not going to go through and list all of the singles, but I will mention this album actually was certified gold pretty much immediately on release because of how much the singles had been played, especially including Life is Good featuring Drake. You know, that song blew up. It was already 4 times platinum by the time this album dropped. So yes, this album was gold within like the first 30 minutes of release, if not immediately at midnight. I did do a midnight listen through on this one. I was already staying up late anyways that night, so I was like, what the heck, let's play it at midnight. Played it and wrote down my thoughts immediately, listened to it 2 or 3 more times, and changed my script a little bit. So this is my thoughts on that. First, I'll start with the pros. The production is crystal clear. I mean, it's beautiful. For example, the first track, which is probably my favorite, if not top 3 on the album, Trapped in the Sun, super clear production with a murky sound, so that it's almost a little cloudy, but in a clear way. It's hard to explain, but it's beautiful. I mean, it really adds up to an absolute banger. It's a very dark track. Again, that's probably one of my favorite tracks, so I'll probably mention it a couple of times, but love the sound, and that really sets you up for what you're going to hear throughout the rest of this project, which is a lot of clear-cut production, a lot of murky, dark overtones here and there, some more upbeat, higher tempo stuff, but overall, just a lot of clear, good production. And dang, his rapping over this is really good too. It's not just like it's just good production, but he's rapping at like the top of his career for the, much of this album. Let's see. So following up the production, another high is the songwriting strikers. This is pretty much everyone's agreed best song on the album. Again, clear production, good rapping, but dear God, the part that stands out the most is the beat switch right there at the end of the song. It only switches for like the last minute, but it's just like it feels like it's fading out and the song's ending, and then all of a sudden flips a switch, and it's not like that. It's not like the sicko mode switch where it's like boom, boom. No, it's like fading out, fades back in with a completely different beat, and then slowly builds back up with some like news clippings, police talk, something like that, and then the booming bass comes back in once Future starts rapping again, and that is a really good song, so wavy and beautiful. Like I mentioned earlier, another pro is Future's rapping. We know he's not the most technical rapper, he's not going to have the best lyricism or anything like that, but he leans right into his best features on this one. Slight production on his voice to give it that wavy, croony sound on some tracks, but it really works. We all know that Future, whenever he's like Codeine Crazy, you know, he has slight production on that, but it gives that strained feeling to where he's sounding a little bit more introspective. Sounds a little bit more heartfelt. He does that on quite a few tracks on here, and it works very, very well. Again, his rapping is just very good. He uses a good use of tone, whether it's hype or more introspective. Just his rapping is very on point for what mood he's going for, depending on the track. And then again, just to mention, he has a perfect mix of all of his sounds. He has great bangers, such as Solitaires and All Bad. A lot of murky, grimy tracks, such as Trapped in the Sun and Harlem Shake. And then more sad, introspective tracks, such as Accepting My Flaws and Too Comfortable. He mixes all of his sounds that people have loved over the years very well on this project, so that it doesn't get like too one note. So yeah, that's the positives there. I know I pretty much listed everything about the album. I'm going to my two cons, my two negatives, if you can even consider them that. First, the only real complaint is the length. Again, 21 tracks, 70 minutes. That's a lot to sit through, especially for a trap album. And I combat that with this. If you like or even love pretty much every single track, maybe one track that you would consider skipping, maybe two if you're stretching. Is that even a bad thing that it's 70 minutes long? I don't think so. I loved every single track on here outside of like Outer Space Bit. That was the one track where I'm like, okay, I could have done without that, but it's not bad. Really, it has a great track list on here. I'm very impressed. And then my other con, just one line that I got to point out on High Tech Tech. This man says, I've been out in Houston like Kareem. I'm a Rocket. I'm pretty sure he meant Hakeem, because, you know, Kareem only ever played at UCLA, Milwaukee, and LA, the Lakers. So I don't really know why he's throwing him in there with the Houston Rockets. But regardless, I just had to clown him on that one because I'm a big NBA fan. NBA isn't basketball, not Young Boy. Clear that up. Moving on, I'll talk about the features. There are quite a few good features on here. I'll try to roll through this real quick so this review doesn't go on too long. First off, Solitaires. Travis Scott. Great clear production on this one. Both rap very well for their great chemistry. As we know, they have great chemistry based on like tracks like 3500. Again, good production on Future's voice to match that you're expecting from Travis Scott. Really good banger here. Some very solid production. A little bit of a dark overtone, which works for both of their sounds and both of their complementing tones on this track. After this, we have Trillionaire with NBA Youngboy, which did not expect to be good. You know I hate Youngboy, but he was actually really low-key good on here. They used a more introspective beat and sound, with a little bit more crooning and auto-tune. The production on Youngboy's voice was actually really good, so that made him a positive in this track. And then, of course, Future, he fits right in on that with a sound similar to that of Hendrix, but a little bit more upbeat. And this song is really good, actually. I put it in my sad playlist, if I'm totally honest. After that, we get Harlem Shake with Young Thug. And you know these two are going to have good chemistry. They've had a project together, even if it's not that great of a project altogether. You know they have good chemistry. They had good moments on that. They have a good song here. Very dark, grimy production, allowing both to dip into their dark side, which is fun to see, especially considering Young Thug. You usually see him on more hype stuff, especially when he's working with other trap artists. But Future having his dark side, having his toxic side, that was the perfect way to dip into this side of Young Thug as well, and they both work very well on this track to put together an amazing track. I think that the dark, grimy tracks might be my favorite part of this project, even though I am more of a fan of sad, introspective Future. Now after this track comes All Bad with Lil Uzi Vert. And this is more of an upbeat, brighter track, which is a good break to the darker production, the sadder tone, the toxic tone that you find throughout this project. But these two show great chemistry as well, doing some back and forth action for some of the track, especially at the beginning, a la Run DMC, but obviously not to that level. But it's a very solid track. It's not my favorite. It's probably, actually, I might say my least favorite of all the collab tracks, but I did really enjoy this one. Actually, now looking forward, there's one more track that I didn't like as quite as much as this one, but I still love all of the songs that have features on them. Now after this, Life is Good. We already know about this. I'm not going to talk about this one too much other than to say Future and Drake have a great sound together, and this track works very well. Of course, we've all heard it. It's so popular. It's probably gotten old by now, but we still know it's a good track. Next comes up Last Name featuring Lil Durk. And again, I did not care for that Lil Durk album last week. But this track right here is good. Again, more introspective sound, smooth production, a nice piano trap beat that you can barely hear in the background. Like if you really pay attention, you can hear it. And there's some nice smooth singing on this one with the good use of auto-tone on here. Makes up for a really good track. I really enjoyed it. Now after this comes 100 Shooters with Meek Mill and Doughboy. And this is the other track that I was talking about that I didn't care for as much. Future and Meek actually are really good on here, but Doughboy I did not care for him as much. Just his verse really didn't impress me that much. Not that it was bad, just his sound didn't really fit with the other two as well. But again, nice banger, really hype, fun to hear, and especially considering it's just basically a bonus track at this point. No complaints at all about that. And then, of course, we get the remix to Life is Good featuring DaBaby and Lil Baby. And this is the same general song, just a little bit more of a sad sound over Future's verse. DaBaby and Lil Baby get solid features. Again, not as good as the original here, but it's basically a bonus track. We heard it ahead of time, so we all knew what to expect from that. Solid track altogether. So overall, I've been talking already for over 11 minutes. I'm going to just give a quick synopsis and then give a rating. I did not plan on going on this long, especially for a Future project, because usually there's not that much to break down. But on first listen, I said, holy crap, this is really good, and it got better the more that I played it. Like, the more times I listen to this album, the more I enjoy it, the more I find to like. I always fear with albums that I'm going to love it on the first time. I'm going to start writing up a review on first listen and then have to completely ditch it because I hate it the second or third time. But that did not happen here. In fact, I added stuff that I enjoyed after the first listen here. So really good song. This is probably right up there as his best project, along with DS2 and Monster. I love this album a lot. Amazing mix of his different sounds, as I mentioned. Great production. No real weak links outside of Outer Space Bit. Really, really good project. Very surprising. My rating, shocking to me, is a 9 out of 10. I love this project. It is up there as a top 3 album of the year. Right now, I think I might have it as my rap album of the year. Of course, After Hours still being the best album to come out so far this year, but this is a really good album. It very much shocked me. Very easy to listen to. There's a sound for whatever mood you're in, so you can find something even if you don't want to listen to the whole thing. But I highly recommend listening to the whole thing if you're just going into it to hear Future. Again, only thing holding it back is that it's technically speaking not anything new. We have heard all of these before. It's just with amazing production layered on top of it. And it's a bit long, 70 minutes for a trap project, so it can be a lot to sit through all at once, but my gosh, it is so worth it. That's all I have to say. Hit me up in the comment section what your thoughts on this one what your thoughts on this one is. My apologies. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell next to my name for notifications. Share this video so other people can hop on and watch. I appreciate y'all, and I will hit y'all up next time.